Hello everyone and welcome to another training video. So in this video we are going to see what to do in case we have one engine failure. So it means that only one engine will fail, the other engine will still be operational. Now since here we have engine 1 and engine 2 on this helicopter, the procedure is just slightly different if it's engine 2 that fails. Okay, so first a few definitions that are important to know. Like here it says land as soon as possible and land as soon as practical. Okay, so as soon as possible means land without delay at the nearest shootable area, for example an open field at which a safe approach and landing is reasonably assured. Okay, and that's most of the time an auto rotation. Whereas land as soon as practical means the duration of the flight and landing side are at the discretion of the pilot. Okay, however, extended flight beyond the nearest approved landing area is not recommended. So what it means is you can continue flying up to the nearest approved landing area, and if you know of such an area or if you find such an area, then you land. But if you want to extend your flight, this is not recommended. So land as soon as possible, in other words, is immediately without any delay. Just find a suitable place to land the helicopter, and land as soon as practical is based on your knowledge of the area. Just fly until you reach that point where you can then land the helicopter. Now let's have a look at the procedure when we have one engine inoperative. Okay, so first is collective reduce. Okay, to maintain rotor RPM and power within one engine inoperative limits. And then the airspeed, we try to maintain an airspeed of 70 knots. Now, if possible, okay, if possible, RPM switch increase set N2 RPM at 100%. Okay, if possible. And then the throttle of the affected engine closed. I'm just gonna read through this and then I will explain how I'm gonna simulate an engine failure here. And then this part is important. Boost pump off. Fuel switch of the affected engine off, and then the fuel cross feed switch override close, fuel incon switch open, gen switch of the affected engine, okay, is going to be off, and then non-essential bus switch as desired. Okay, so now let's have a look at where those switches are. So of course you know where the throttle is. This is for engine 1, this is for engine 2. And then boost pump, okay, this side here is for engine 1 and this side here is for engine 2. So this is boost pump. So if it's engine 1, this is the one you need to close. Of course here we have not started, so everything is on close. Okay, and fuel switch. Okay, fuel switch is this one, and this one for engine 1 and this one for engine 2. That is, those two switches need to be put to off if it's engine 1, and those two off if it's engine number 2. Okay, and then fuel cross feed switch override close. Okay, so usually it's on norm. This guy is on norm also. So this one you will put on override close, and this one here fuel incon switch open. Okay, so one is open, another one is override close. Okay, so usually it's on norm, just one click to put it on open, and then gen switch of the affected engine off. Okay, so gen switch of the affected engine, here it's for number 1, here it's for number 2. Now the difference between if you have engine 1 fail and engine 2 fail is just with the battery bus, okay, because when you will be normal flight, this is how it will be. This is going to be off. Of course, those two are going to be on. These also are going to be on, but just I'm talking about these two switches. This one will be off, this one will be on. Okay, but if you have engine 2 failure, then you put this on and this off if it's engine 2 failure. That's the only difference, otherwise it's the same procedure here. Okay, now it is a simulator. Of course, that part here is going to be relative to the simulator itself. Unfortunately, I can't find how to map those buttons here. Okay, on my keyboard, maybe on throttle quadrants or actual helicopter devices you can, but on the keyboard you cannot. So what I will have to do is something I don't like to. It ruins the immersion, but that's the only option. Is once I get the emergency, I will pause the game so that I can then switch on or off, or whatever is switch on and off, and then unpause and continue. Okay, now how am I going to simulate engine failure? I can either program it, engine 1 or engine 2, to fail, but a good way to kind of repeatedly, if you want to practice this, is just to lower the throttle, close the throttle of the engine you want to simulate a failure. So for example, if it's engine 1, you just close the throttle, and I might even go ahead and trigger the idle stop. This one I have key bindings for this, so that it really shuts down the engine. And anyway, as you saw here, you have to close the throttle of the affected engine anyway. Okay, so you might need to watch this part of the explanation a few times to understand. Now I'm just gonna start the helicopter, and I will see you once I'm ready for takeoff. So here we are, ready for takeoff, everything normal. So we'll just take off and climb to a reasonable altitude. As you can see here, everything working normally as intended, no issue whatsoever. Okay, both engines operated, no warning, nothing. So I will see you when we are ready to trigger the engine failure. Okay, here I've established a level flight around 100 knots. So here I'm just gonna kill, because it's a simulator, usually you will only reduce the throttle when practicing this, but here in the simulator I will kill engine number 2 by closing the throttle and the idle stop, and then I will pause the simulator and we will continue. So engine number 2 failure in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now because it's a simulator, as I said, you can pause it, and collective I will reduce. Airspeed I will establish 70 knots RPM if possible. Once again, I couldn't find a key binding for this, but throttle of the affected engine, it's engine number 2, already closed, and here in this case I even shut down the engine. Now boost pump, okay, of the affected engine, here it's engine number 2, so boost pump is here. Okay, fuel switch is this one, this is the fuel switch. Okay, now fuel crossfeed switch override close, and incon open. Remember, here it's a norm, one time is open. If you click one more time it will be override closed. You don't want this. You want this to be in the middle. Generator switch of the affected engine off. So it's generator 2 because it's engine number 2 that is affected. Off. Now don't pay attention to the sounds because the game is paused. And now the reason why I chose engine number 2 to fail, it's because of that extra step. Okay, if it was engine number 1, you stop here, but because it's engine number 2, you have to put battery switch 2 to off and then battery switch 1 to on, because as you can see here, when you start the engine, this will pop off. Okay, so you have to switch this off first and then you can switch this on. Okay, and we will reset the master caution light altitude. We will be landing anyway as soon as practical. Okay, so we can continue flying, but not an extended flight. I already have an idea where I'm gonna land, so I'm gonna land at this location. Okay, so now I'm gonna unpause the simulator and do all the necessary adjustment that I haven't been able to do while the simulator was paused. Okay, so there we go. So I will reduce collective, establish 70 knots, and clear master warning. As you can see, engine out, engine 2 out, and I can still fly. I'm just gonna head to a location where I know I can land. To establish around 70 knots here. As you can see, helicopter is still flyable with one engine, except that you don't want to be completing your entire flight like this. So here, because I'm close to the airport, I'm gonna try to land there. But if you are out there, based on your flight planning, you will know where will be an appropriate place to land the helicopter. And actually what I'm gonna do here is try to land exactly at the maintenance center. Very practical. So this is what I'm gonna attempt here. Okay, because of the wind and all, it's gonna be a little bit tricky this part, but hello guys, I've got work for you. So there it is, and once you've landed, I will kind of shut down the helicopter, shut down and secure the helicopter. Of course, it is an emergency, so go. Complete the shutdown procedure. And leave the guys at the maintenance do their job. There it is. Okay, so this is one engine inoperative. As you can see, we were able to continue our flight and we landed as soon as practical. And once again, the only difference is if it's engine 1 failure, it will already be like this. You leave it like this. And as we saw here in this particular example, it was engine 2 failure. So don't switch this on first. Switch this off first, and then this one you will be able to switch on. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in another training video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.